Hello, I'm Dr. Derek Wilson from Community Connections in Princeton, West Virginia. We're glad to bring to you a very special presentation by Lieutenant Jeremy Halsey of the Princeton Police Department. He is going to share on bike safety for our kids and also read to our kids a book, Gracie's Guide on Bike Safety. We're very excited to have Lieutenant Halsey to be able to share this. He has led very successfully our Princeton Police Explorers, and we are very excited about this program and how it's reaching out into our community to make a difference in children's lives. And I think that you will enjoy taking just a couple of minutes here to listen to Lieutenant Halsey read to you on Gracie's Guide, Bike Safety.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Halsey with the Princeton Police Department, and today I would like to talk to you about a few things about bicycle safety. The first thing you should do before you ride your bicycle is make sure you have the proper safety equipment. This equipment includes a bicycle helmet, elbow pads, and knee pads. Once you have that safety equipment, then you're ready to check your bicycle. These tips include making sure you have proper air pressure inside your tire, making sure your pedals are nice and tight on the bike, making sure that your training wheels are tight. A few other things you can do is make sure that your chain looks good. Make sure that your brake works on your bike. If you have handlebar brakes, test those before you leave the house. Now that you've completed those safety tips, you're ready to ride your bike. Before you leave the house, be sure to let your parents know where you're going. If you're going to be at a park, stay at a park. If you're going to be around a friend's house, stay at the friend's house. Never take off from the area that you're supposed to be. If it gets late and you know you're going to be out late on your bicycle, a few other things that you can do is make sure you put lights on your bicycle or wear reflective tape or have a reflective t-shirt. Your shoes also can have reflectors on. Once you have that, then you're ready to ride your bicycle once you follow those safety steps. After you've completed that, make sure you go out and you have fun, have a safe summer, and follow those safety tips that I've given you. Hi, I'm Lieutenant Halsey with the Princeton Police Department, and today we're going to read a book about bicycle safety. The book is based upon a local author, Angie Wilson, and the Gracie's Guide book series. This book in particular is about bicycle safety and is also an activity book. Inside there's certain things that you can do for activities such as crossword puzzles. In the book, it's about a little girl, her name's Gracie, and she's going to face certain situations throughout the day that involve whether or not she should wear her bicycle safety equipment. But I think through the book, she's going to learn a valuable lesson about how you should always follow directions and safety tips when riding your bicycle. It was a warm Saturday morning at the park. Gracie and Kinsey, her BFF, were ready to play on the jungle gym, ride their bikes, and enjoy a picnic. There were a few other kids enjoying a day off from school, and the park was booming with action. Gracie's mom was sitting nearby, reading a book as the girls kept the swings busy. At noon, the three of them picnicked and munched down on some sandwiches and fruit. Gracie thought it was just a right kind of day. That until Mom pulled this enormous bag out of their car that was full of safety gear for their bike ride. Gracie felt embarrassed. The two girls had to wear knee pads, elbow pads, and a helmet. On top of all that, she smothered them in another dose of sunscreen. Gracie felt sure that there was no way one ray of sun was going to get through to her skin for the rest of her life. She felt that her mom was treating her like a 2-year-old. Lucas, the new kid in class at school, had been riding his bike at the park all morning. He wasn't wearing any safety gear and probably no sunscreen either. The only thing he had was his iPod and earbuds, and he was singing along as he rode his new 10-speed bike. Mom had brought her bike along as well, so the three of them started out on the bike trail that led around town. Gracie glanced at Lucas as they left. He was riding on the skateboard ramp and was zooming up and down as fast as a flash. In fact, he was fast at everything. He liked to be called by his nickname, Lightning Lucas, because he could talk fast, eat fast, walk fast, run fast, and ride his bike extra fast. Gracie thought it must be cool to be able to ride your bike without all that extra safety stuff. Their ride was really fun, but after she took a little tumble on her bike, she was really thankful for the safety gear. If she hadn't had elbow pads, knee pads, it would have been a mess when she slid down a hill. She could even have been all scratched up. The bike trail led them through a residential area. They came to a stoplight, and Kenzie just kept riding towards the intersection without slowing down. The light was red. Gracie's mom yelled to her. She came to a stop at the corner of the road. Kenzie, you must always be careful at the stoplight, Gracie's mom said. I thought the lights were just for cars, Kenzie stammered. No, they are for everyone, even walkers and bikers. Kenzie's eyes grew very big when she saw the traffic whiz by her. She realized if she had continued to cross the street, she could have been hit by a car. When the three of them returned to the park, Gracie could not believe her eyes. There was an ambulance parked near the skateboard ramp, and the emergency workers were loading someone into the back. When Gracie saw a new 10-speed bike on the ground beside them, she knew it was Lucas. They quickly rode over to him and were shocked to see how messed up he was. It looked like there wasn't a single square inch of him without a scratch. The girls watched in silence as the ambulance left Lucas. They found out later that he suffered from a concussion and multiple cuts and bruises. He came to school on Monday and had quite a story for all the kids in the 5th grade classroom. His face was scratched up as well as his arms and legs. He walked to the front of the room with a box that had a brand new bicycle helmet, knee pads, and elbow pads. He held the box up in front in the air for everyone to see as he announced, "This was a Christmas gift from my parents last year. As you can see, I've never even opened the box." Everyone was a little puzzled. Why in the world would he bring an old, unopened gift to school? Lucas continued, "I thought I was too old for all that safety stuff. My little 4-year-old little brother, yes, he needed it, but not me. No, I knew I had to ride a bike, and I didn't need it." Now, usually, the kids in room 117 are a pretty talkative bunch, but there was something about his story that was captivating. It was probably the fact that he looked like he had been in a fight with a wildcat and lost. They sat and listened without moving a muscle. Lucas continued, "I was riding in the park on Saturday and was doing some pretty awesome jumps on the skateboard ramp. There was even a little group of kids who sat around me and watched and clapped for each jump. I guess it kind of went to my head, you know. I started showing off a little because I had an audience. I rode a little faster and jumped a little higher. This probably went on for 10 minutes, and then I decided to go for an extra high jump off the tall end of the ramp. That was not a smart idea. I jumped high into the air and my bike flew out from under me. I landed on the concrete and rolled down to the bottom of the ramp. I don't remember what happened after that. The next thing I knew, I woke up in the hospital with my parents sitting beside me. I admit I was scared and in pain from all the cuts and scratches on me. It was the first time I had ever been in the ER, and I didn't know what to expect." Gracie couldn't believe the silence in the room. You could have heard a gnat sneeze. Lucas continued his story and filled everyone in on his injuries, focusing on the 14 stitches in his elbow. Gracie was relieved to see that there was a bandage covering them. She didn't think her stomach could handle looking at that. When he finished his story, he asked if anyone had any questions. There were a few kids who had a question. They had asked if he had to spend the night in the hospital. Did he mess up his bike? And will he ever ride it again? He answered them quickly. No, yes, and yes. He explained that he was sent home after a few hours. He had a picture of his bent-up bike, and then he said that he would definitely ride again. You see, I'm still Lightning Lucas, he said. I get right back on my bike and ride. Except from now on, I will be smart about it. My new name is Loaded Lightning Lucas. I will be loaded with everything in this box. He held the box up again and smiled. I'm going to open it up right now and try them on. Lucas pulled the safety gear out of the box and tried it on in front of everyone. To his surprise, everyone gave him a standing ovation. He smiled. It was a good feeling. Their teacher, Mrs. T, chimed in with a few safety tips. Safety is the main thing. Safety comes first, she began. There are bicycle rules just like there are rules for riding in a vehicle. Everyone knows how important it is to buckle up with your seatbelt. It is just as important to buckle up your safety gear when riding. She wrote the following bike safety rules on the board. Always ride with an adult. Always wear a helmet, knee pads, and elbow pads. Always obey traffic signs and stoplights. Stop, look, and listen before crossing a road. and wear bright colors. Have a helmet, elbow pads, wrist guards, and knee pads, which are very vital for when you're riding a bike if you want to stay safe. Suddenly, Gracie was glad that her mom was so persistent about being safe. She looked at her elbow pads and knees. She was so thankful that she saw no scabs or stitches. She grabbed a pen and wrote the rules in a notebook because she didn't want to forget them. One look at those scratches on Lucas and she determined that she will never again complain about gearing up. After that day, Gracie no longer felt like a 2-year-old when she was wearing her helmet, knee pads, and elbow pads. She was no longer embarrassed. In fact, she felt responsible. She felt smart and she felt safe. See, these are the hand signals that you can use when you're riding a bike. If you make a left turn, you put your arm out like this. If you go right, you put your right arm out like that. And if you're going to stop or slow down, you put your arm like this. That lets people know when you're on a bicycle what you're getting ready to do. Okay? So, in the book, we realized that, yeah, bicycle safety equipment sometimes may not look cool, but there's a reason why it was made. It was made for your safety. So if you're out riding your bike, be sure to wear your safety equipment so nothing bad happens to you like it did with Lucas.